And we're back into the time loop for... Oh, I would almost say this is the, not the climax. It's the part before that. I don't know what that is. There's... Turning point, I guess? I mean, there's been a lot of turning points. There's been enough turning points in the time loop to make its own racetrack. But... well, we know what the, main, antagonists are driving now. Viewers always knew, but now the drivers do. Maybe having somebody that can manipulate reality on our team may have been a bit overpowered. I don't know, but Monika's done some Matrix, Neo type nonsense, and she's picked out the fact that Carbon is in this race, driving this black Ford I'm highlighting. She believes Paradox is probably in a similar car. Now, worth mentioning, now the drivers also all know that Romelia and Eggman are siding with Paradox, but that was actually, we actually knew that before Monika even entered the series. So essentially there's going to be 4 different conglomerates, splitting our unit into 4 major groups now. One for each, like, facet of the, like, opposing side of this. Probably what it'll be is the Cartoon Network characters will be after Carbon. The Hot Wheels characters will probably be after Paradox. Best drivers should probably go after the big bad guy. Best drivers, more just most experienced drivers. I would probably almost certainly say that there's a couple of drivers like Dexter and probably Bubbles, or probably one of the, I don't actually know. There's a tier list for all of this, but I don't know what it is, but there are certainly Hot Wheels drivers that aren't all that great at their jobs. And there's some drivers that aren't Hot Wheels that have proven to be pretty good. The Powerpuff Girls are on fire in Universe Zero, and the last time they appeared at Mugello, they did pretty well. So... but yeah, so the other cars, we have Shadow starting on pole. Then we have Ryan Storm. I believe that's... If it's a red number panel, I think that... Yes, so that would be the 3 car of Marissa. I think this is the 2. It's really hard to read that number as I just pulled my earbuds out of my head. I think that's a 2. We'll start right behind it so we can really see then. And Enduro, for the GTE opponents, driving as that in this event. And we have one lone representative in the GTE category, Burn. Also Metacog's car, but not Metacog because he fell apart. So... Look at those low poly PS1 mountains in the background over there. Just divert attention away from that. I can use the lights! I don't need the lights because it's 9 in the morning. I can no longer control the lights. That was a lot of wheel spin. Goodness gracious bumps. Oh. Yep, that's the 2, so that one is Carbon. We've made up quite a few spots in this first set of corners. Ryan Storm, please. Round the outside. That sort of stuff just doesn't happen, you know? Not when everyone's in the same kind of car, anyway. I see our first line of defense has been passed, that being Shadow. I took that corner really weird, and I still almost crashed. It's like Shadow tried to go defensive on that guy, except the AI don't really do that. This is an F1. Oh. I think I found the AI's corner. Of course, it's the last one, so that means that there's no way of ever trying to pass them there. Granted, I wouldn't really want to try very often anyway, but still. When I say the CN group, I basically just mean anybody that's not a Hot Wheels character or Toho character. Because I wasn't really finished with that. Remilia will be dealt with by the other Toho drivers. Specifically Saklia and Reimu will probably be the most active when it comes to shutting all of that down. Yeah, we found the other AI corner. They take that much faster than me. Eggman will swiftly be dealt with by the Sonic cast, Sonic, Tails, Silver, and Shadow, and Amy. Knuckles is still guarding the Master Emerald. Even if Sega themselves won't recognize that, I do. So this is awfully spread out. I'm not fully aware of what this car does. I don't know. That's certainly closing the gap as the two Aston Martins just try to destroy each other. Throwing Shadow off his position, and I will make that pass and not run into the back of the car in front of me because I am not an idiot. Yep, I'm an idiot. We're fine. And yeah, that's what happens when I try to take that corner the same way the AI opponents do. I end up nearly wrecking it, so let's just not, and just hope that I'm far enough ahead of Shadow to not have to do that again. Other characters will kind of fall in as they may. For instance, Monika will probably help more so with Paradox. I don't really think she gives two damns about Remilia or Eggman. And she'll probably do a little bits and pieces against Carbon just by proxy. These AI really like to make like half-baked maneuvers to try and get around the other car in front of them, and then they just don't. Will they argue again as we head into the other hairpin? One of like 4 on the track. Don't make too many decisions there, I think that's a 35, because make too many wrong ones and I'll just pass you instead. You should be looking in your mirrors, pal. My right front is a little bit chilly. My left front is still fine, though, which is kind of unusual that... Usually they're pretty well evenly matched on this game. Like, it's not like F1. A lot of corners, a lot of tracks have kind of even-ish in number of corners. Like, you know, like, it's not like you're gonna make like 7 left and 12 to the right. Then again, I'm not exactly counting. The F1, like, pre-race movies will sometimes actually count how many go in a certain direction. But we don't have those, nor do I even have them in Red Hot, because Formula 1 management gets really annoyed if you do that. That being, put them in the videos. I love the names behind me. Miles Behind and Willie Swerve. So some of the opponents, as the loading screens will say, if I actually have the loading screens in the videos, some of the opponents are named after devs from the game, and others are just random. And also apparently in career mode for the series they have official licensing for, they will actually have the real life drivers. So like IndyCar, for example, this game has the official IndyCar license, so you'll find the actual IndyCar drivers in their actual Indy cars, I broke way too late for that, in the career mode. The career mode that I never do because it really doesn't make a difference. There's nothing to it. Like, there's no progression other than, like, if you do well in this, you will go to another category. It's like, okay, or I can just drive that same category whenever I want to. Why do I have to go through karting and Formula 3 and all this to drive Indy cars when I can just go into quick race and drive Indy cars? There's no point. There's literally no reason why I would ever do a career mode, because I can just do anything else whenever. Another example, GT cars. You can start with GT5, which is a singular one-make race with some kind of crappy Janetta that barely gets over 110 miles an hour. And by succeeding there, you will gain access to GT4, I think. And then you end up maybe in GT3, and then maybe you end up running in Le Mans. Like the Le Mans series events. I think that's how it works. I thought about it at one point just for the heck of it, but it just didn't seem like there was any point. You brake at the start of the curb, not the sign. Wait, maybe I am supposed to brake at the sign, and I just missed that. Yeah, we get it. You cheat through that corner. Go away. Really, the only objective of this race should be that I just have to be ahead of Carbon. Okay, I want to actually point something out with these, like, speed differences. Of course, it goes to the end of the previous lap instead of the start of it. So I had to watch all the way through the lap to get to that final corner. But I would just like to point out just what the AI do that I can't. I tried to take it faster. I solemnly did, but it just didn't matter. So I take it at like 80 miles an hour is the lowest. This is measured in kilometers. This is also measured in kilometers. Here we go, miles. I cannot ever hope to do that. I tried to enter that corner like 92, and then the car just didn't bite in, so I had to let off again. Anyway, other miscellaneous characters, really that divides most of the characters. Toho, Sonic, Hot Wheels, and Cartoon Network. Very few remain that are anywhere in between. The only other ones that I can think of are like Monika and Captain Falcon. And Captain Falcon hasn't really appeared yet. He's in the category, he has like the 6th car. He's got basically the teammate version of this, but without all of the red. So he is here, but he just hasn't shown up. One thing that Monika also pointed out is the whole like time advancing faster thing doesn't really happen if Paradox is, well, that was a lot faster. Not quite 90, but certainly better than 80. That doesn't really happen if Carbon or Paradox are nearby. Which is why we're almost halfway through the race and it's still broad daylight. She had pointed it out before we started, but I just kind of forgot. Also, finally, Bert is not here. If I were to guess, he's probably attempting to track down Paradox. And leaving that, the second most determined driver, to deal with Carbon here in Zhuhai. And the combination of track and car here is partially intentional, as not very far from now, I think it's like a week and a half from now, I have a league race, driving, well, not this model, but the Corvette, or not this livery, I have the 61. Ironically, it's actually just Battle Rocket's car, in this league, and it's at this track for several, I think like an hour and a half, not several hours. It's not Le Mans. Ooh, okay, that felt weird as hell. And, like, I mentioned the career mode earlier of this game. Obviously it's not relevant to Time Loop, but I don't have a ton else to talk about right now, because the other subjects don't exactly have, basically what it is they're not relevant either. There's more to uncover about Monika's personal reasons for joining the group, other than because she was brought in by drivers who knew her from other series that she's in, specifically the America's Tour, which Tyler does on NASCAR Heat 4, and Red Hot Racing Circuit, which is the F1 series that I do. And that's not done, by the way. There will be several more seasons of that to come, but I wanted to get a little bit more Time Loop on. Give Red Hot a bit of a respite while focusing on a different series for a minute. When I will continue Red Hot, I'm not precisely sure. Man, that's a lap and a half. I'm gonna pull that out in qualifying when I race here, that'd be great. So it feels weird, but it's actually helpful when the car does that, because it rotates in safely. It's almost like banking, but it's not. Because the corner is actually off camber. But I'm, I guess, kind of a reliable source on what is or isn't good in career modes because, well, F1 in career mode is a thing, and that's pretty in-depth. It's not perfect. Still kind of wish they had left the patch in where the AI drivers would switch around more sporadically. I've seen everything from Lewis Hamilton on Renault, I've seen Kimi Räikkönen on Haas. I know my friend Cam has his career mode going, and Lewis Hamilton is on Red Bull, Max Verstappen is on Mercedes, and Charles Leclerc is also on Mercedes. He's in Ferrari on that sequence thing, words, difficult. Oh, get off of that. NASCAR Heat 4 career mode, which I just got done with like a huge kind of binge on that to get one season done. Basically did the whole 36 race schedule in like 4 days? Somewhere between 3 and 5. Thought about making that into a series as well. To defer still from the Americas tour while still doing a NASCAR series. Like the thought was to maybe get on to a good team, and then here's some weird noises upstairs. Like get onto a more effective team than the one that you have to start on, or the ones that you have to start on. You can start with one of 3, but they're all really the same, and they all aren't very good. That was kind of bad. But I kind of decided against that because of the 2 series I already have going, which take up everything, and then obviously eventually still doing Tyler's America's Tour when the lad can finally remember to get a mic that actually allows him to be heard over me, let alone the incredibly loud NASCARs that will be filling the audio of the video as well. This is in a sense kind of scouting for myself, because then I can take what I learned from doing this 25-minute race. That's also part of why I decided now would be the time to not have it to where the track changes time, because it won't be happening at all in the race, so anything I do at night would be useless information on the most part, because I don't think it'll end up being nighttime in the race. The important one. Aggressive braking. I managed to lock up there. Well, there's a lap. And what's terrifying is that the AI behind me is not going much slower than that. As like I know now, reduce brake pressure by like a click. Maybe change the brake bias 63, 62. And also learning which curbs I can attack and which curbs I need to avoid, like it's like the bubonic plague. Most curbs range from non-lethal to useless, or like no effect on me at all. But there's still a couple that are like terrifying, like the one I hit on earlier, and then either the curbs in this corner can be bad. Plain and simple. I figure, yes, brake pressure is not so important because I don't think I'll have an opponent this close to me throughout the whole race. And even if there was, they wouldn't be as aggressive or sporadic as he is. And so therefore I won't have to brake so aggressively. So maybe lower the TC slip rating 1. I could do that now, just like the brake bias thing. I'm just not. It's not necessary, it's just a thing that I can do. Or a thing that I advise myself to do when it comes to the real thing. Now I really wish this were the 36 behind me, because then there'd be like something interesting in the series, but now it's just like tower defense, but at top speed. There's nothing I can comment on, because it's just some faceless like, oh look, Aston Martin, go away, please. It's not like, oh shit, so fast is really turning on the pressure now. No, I don't know who this is. He doesn't know who he is. It just doesn't matter. There's other reason why I lower the brake pressure. Because I have tire wear on lower than the race will have. So doing that a lot will make them not want to live anymore. I also need to rework on that last corner. Need to work on not locking up there. Also, there's just 2 laps to go. Thing I've also noticed from doing all of the NASCAR heat that I did, this game is hardly the only one that will have that syndrome of one AI must be with you or will run away every time. Was quite common in the Heat 4 thing that one AI driver would just be like leagues above the rest, and he would win by like 10 seconds in a 15-lap race. It looked really dumb. That was terrible. And we are on the final lap. I feel like I'm missing something in that corner, but I have absolutely no idea what it is. You know, I really wish that 4th gear was like a little bit longer, because a lot of these straightaways end like right when I have to switch to 5th. I mean, turn it up all you want there, Mr. Aston Martin, but assuming I don't miss this last corner entirely, it's not enough. I did not. And that's the first blow to Carbon's ego completed. We don't quite get into the blows on Carbon's vehicle for a while. We're just trying to see what their game plan is for the moment. I'll be skipping the cooldown lap because I'm going to actually finish this hot lap up with maximum aggression and see just what the limits of this car are. How does this work? Can be done. We'll probably do that in qualifying, but not in the race. Look at that sign. I would do the cooldown lap entrance from me, but the pit entrance is over there, and this is the corner I want to make sure of. Oh, look at that curb. That is very important. The curb does basically nothing. Man, even Ryan Storm got ahead of Shadow. What was he doing in that race? And then on top of all of that, Marissa and Enduro, what was that? Well, Carbon looks really stupid right about now. Although really, I'm not actually sure if that's the fault of the drivers. I think that's more the fact that this guy is the next Ayrton Senna. So... And today was not exactly a prime day for the rest of the cast. Luckily, I slashed that, held up our end. So that'll be it for this episode of Time Loop. Carbon's looking awfully pathetic right about now. I guess it can be left up to... eat my dust. Man, I should have given this to Vert. He literally says that in World Race. It'd fit too. It is blue. Especially if the 6 car had it. I could probably give Captain Falcon something else.